want or I basically want to just go over a few things and let people join in slowly. And this allows me to go a little bit deeper into different aspects because I have made a bunch of updates and I want to use the beginning of these calls as a way to talk about these updates and things that have been happening. So let me just share my screen because I always that's generally how I think about it. So this is my profile, and this is how I think about everything. So I recently reworked this a little bit, and I wanted to see all of the work that I am doing within the school ecosystem. So working specifically on the marketing, the sales, the product. I wanted to include that in my overall level. So, if you don't know that, I generally think of everything that I'm doing as experience points, and all of these contribute towards my general level. So, by completing different quests or tasks, then I get to level up and I get to continuously get better. And I know this is where I was last level. And something interesting happened because before I haven't really tracked the things that I do for work specifically. So the things that I do in marketing and sales and operations, these were always separate from my database where I just track things that are like personal. So here, for example, I feel like this is way too small to share. What if I do this? Is this better? I also am doing this so I can check out how different things are looking. And I feel like I should be doing this, make this a little bit bigger. How is that? No, that's too much. We, how is that? Do you still see this though? I feel like you're not. There you go. That should work. Yeah. So I'm always thinking about how to improve this, make this better. So, for example, here's all of the content that I'm working on. Um, so I actually did the level up your productivity with quests, and I published that and I added that. So I've done all of my nightly activities, and then here are my ranger activities for today. So this actually didn't happen. So now we have the marketing guild, then it's the school news, and then there is the data Q&A with Kevin. And here kind of like these are all of the meetings that I am currently taking. And then here are different projects that I am working on. So I did do the Notion form. Um, I worked a little bit on the offer, and yeah, I did this. This took me forever. So, like the Notion Quest template, updating that took much longer than I expected. Did I actually add Notion? Yes, let's go. Um, so now I can like also add Notion as a quest. And this is generally on how I think of these things. So this is for Team Unity. Um, there are a bunch of updates. So now we have new logos, which is pretty cool. And actually, I can share this as well because like I generally want to document as much of this journey as possible. So let me quickly um make this bigger again. I think I have to stop sharing for a second. I can just share something else. So if I share this, so this is kind of the post that I'm making. So maybe you've come in from here, and um, yeah, we have now this new logo of the triangle. I think I want to like go with that, kind of reversing the traditional hierarchy. Do I want to say it like that? It's not necessarily reversing it, but just kind of um making sure that like a lot of people can choose where they want to go. So that's why it's kind of like this reverse pyramid. And I have had this about page, and um, I've been and I'm still thinking about the offer here. No, no, didn't want to go here. There you go. Yes, so I've been thinking a lot about this offer here, and I switched this to the relationship area because I think I want this to be about creating connections with people. So why can I not move this? There you go. Um, yeah, this is much better. Uh, Nice. I'm starting to really enjoy this aspect of Riverside. Works very well. And yeah, generally, I am thinking about how to create the offer. And I was talking with Patrice yesterday. So if you don't know Patrice, Patrice is like one of the best copywriters on school. If you join course, then you can join her Monday call, and there she reviews your copy. And she mentioned to more or less get rid of the gamification of the Night Ranger and Wizard. And I'm thinking that um it should be later in the funnel, because in the beginning it tends to be more on the confusing side. So now I'll have to rework this a little bit and make sure that it's more clear on what I'm delivering. And I kind of wanted to share this now, since I'm like still early in the stage, and um kind of like still figuring out how to actually present it. Like when I talk with people one on one, it is much easier, but to make it so clear that even if someone doesn't know me, that they still understand um, what this is about, what they are getting, is something that I find somewhat challenging, because I tend to wrap everything in this gamification aspect. So here I wanted to make it all about creating partnerships in school, and really leveraging the affiliates, allowing people to work with one another, because I think like every business needs to have like someone working in marketing, someone working in sales, someone working in the product and customer success side. But not everyone is good at all of these three things. Actually, like I don't think anyone is really excellent in all three, because you usually have one thing that you're better than the others, and also one thing that you just enjoy more than the other. So you automatically do more of these. And this is true for individuals, but also for communities. There are some communities that are really strong in marketing, and some that are like really good in their sales process, and some are that are excellent on the delivery. But again, you need to all three in order to actually sell something, because if there's a hole within there, it's not going to work. So that's why I'm thinking about, okay, let's build the ecosystem so people can find themselves, connect, have these shared workspaces. And this is what I am currently building in Notion as well. So, um, yeah, let's share this again. So, um, yeah. So basically, having this workspace where you see all of your team members, you see how much time and effort they put into marketing, into sales, into building the product, and they all have their own workspace. So they can either open this up here, which gets like super tiny, but we can actually make this a bit bigger here. So this way, I see this is all of the content that I have created over the past. So I see exactly where I am posting this and like the significance of that. So this was the trailer video for the Game of Life as I was relaunching it. So it was more important than other aspects. And then yeah, different videos about 100 million offers, and then leveling up with yoga and with Notion. And yeah, that's generally how I structure this in terms of the marketing. And I'm actually gonna quickly check on Lucas if he's there, or if we have someone in the chat, and you can join. Like, do let me know. Um, but let's see. Okay, so Sophia won't be able to make it. She has allergies. Yeah, I know how that feels. Um, I'm struggling a lot with allergies as well. So sometimes that does happen. Let's check on Lucas. Um, Oh, damn. He has not been active for 3 days. So I assume something happened on his side. So I guess it will just be us for now, which is fine since it allows me to really go into all of these aspects that I've been wanting to show for a while and really give this like snapshot on how things are at the moment. So this is generally how the marketing looks and feels like. This is the still the bird's eye view where I see all of these content pieces throughout the week. Or the month more likely, but I can also dive deeper into them. Actually, let's make it like this so you see a little bit more. So I can dive deeper into the content piece and I see all of the tasks that I am working on in order to publish this piece today. So for example, like from the packaging, I actually had to do two sets of packaging because it was a bit more complicated than I thought. And then like the filming, the editing, and the publishing. And I can also select other people of my team to that. And then below, I generally have a script where I think of different titles. I usually come up with a thumbnail, but the thumbnail was already in ChatGPT. By the way, ChatGPT is great for thumbnails now. I like absolutely adore that. Makes it so much easier. And then the key points that I wanted to hit, and then I kind of just like I know what I want to say roughly, and then I go into that. And that's generally how I create videos for now. And so far, this works well. Um, Editing still takes longer than I'd like it to take. So in the future, I'll probably get an editor, but I mostly just want to see can I make 3 videos every week. So this is now the third week of doing that and still going well. And as you can see, I already have like the few next ones planned out. This should actually be wizards. So you get to see a bit of the content schedule already. Um, I'm actually not sure about the big five, so let's move them here. Um, yeah, and I should probably no, in August is Mind Valley University. So this is how I think of the marketing side of things. So if we go back to um, yeah, the template, we have a similar view for sales with all of the calls. We have a similar view with the operations with all of these calls, with all of the tasks that need to get done. So you actually don't see them when they're checked off here because see now you actually see the ones that are done. So here, since it is something for everyone, I felt like not showing the things that are completed, but actually, I think this would still be nice to see the things since it's only on the weekly basis. I think this is a bit nicer. So yesterday, I've been working a lot on the wizard side of things, and yeah, then we have here again the team members, and we have the different um, communities here or different channels. So YouTube is also one of them, LinkedIn is one of them. And we see exactly how much marketing experience we've collected, how much sales experience, and how much um, like product or customer success experience. So through that, it kind of shows where most of the effort goes. So in school, it's mostly like calls, outreach, talking to people, while on the Game of Life, it is still more on the outreach since I've done this like a whole lot in the beginning. Is this better? A little bit maybe. Um, yeah, and then for example in YouTube there is like basically no outreach because like you can't really do that. So I generally like to get this overview and having these levels, and they also go into indefinitely. So something that I wanted to do for the longest time, like all of the experience that I'm collecting here. Like here, for example, I'm in level 18 with 73 experience points, which means I have collected 1,873 experience points. But these experience were not really reflected in my own personal um, page, because here I was always kind of thinking about my own quests that I've been working on. So specifically, the actually I'm gonna sit down. Um, so general quests that I've been doing for 5 years now in various different areas. So this is also what the recent video is about. So if you want to go deeper into that, you can like check this out and you see how this all is set up and having like these like three flame quests, which are the highest difficulty, and then like the lower ones. So I still have to clean all of this up a little bit. I think it's still a little bit messy. Um, and it's not to the point where I would want to hand this off as a template. But we already have the template somewhat in order. We just need to make like a few tweaks and update a few things. But as you see here, my level is 18 with 73, and here it's 18 with 545. So why is that? That's because I have been playing this game for much, much longer than just like the past year. And I started playing for, can we make this not visible? There you go. So that's why I've been able to collect a lot more experience. And this is actually 18,545. And I wanted to have these experience in here as well included. So that took some time to make this happen, and then also to see the different roles from marketing to sales to product in here. Product would be much higher if I actually started tracking things from the beginning. But yeah, I still think better starting to track late than never. And yeah, generally, this is currently on where we are, what's happening. And yeah, I think if we, well, we have actually a chat here. Nice. So, Alex, what are your prompts for generating good quality thumbnails? So, the prompts are usually actually if you want you can like come here on stage as well and kind of ask this specifically. But the prompts that I'm using are mostly around a theme. So my theme is all around the fantasy aspect. So I know that I want things to look like PS5 graphics because it should have this game feel. And then I just go back and forth and say, hey, this looks good, this doesn't look good. Change this, change the color. So something that still a lot of trial and error, and just thinking about different assets, and then I put these assets into Canva, and then I put different like texts or like images over that. I do know that you can now generate text in ChatGPT, but the issue is if the text is just slightly off or something in the picture is slightly off, you have to regenerate everything all over again. So you may end up with something worse. And I'm really think what's the one that used to be in Discord, Midjourney. So Midjourney does this very well, where you can just select a piece of the picture and say, hey, I want only this to be changed. So I'm really looking forward to when ChatGPT does this. Yeah, I hope that that answers your question. Generally I find like it's funny because a few years ago I had three people kind of like just working with me on marketing, on creating videos, and like an editor and someone who kind of like does the publishing and the scheduling and the mostly the design. And now it's just like I'm able to do everything by myself. And I'm creating like I used to struggle with one video with three people, and now I'm creating three videos by myself, which is crazy if you think about how fast AI is moving. And I think it's only gonna speed up from here. So that's why I'm really confident on setting out these three videos a week, because at the moment it does take up a lot of time, but it's still manageable. But like I do have to work on other things as well. Like I still do a lot of outreach. I still do like a lot of messages, like partnerships, working on different templates for people, actually having kind of like fulfillment that I'm taking care of. So the moment it works because I can just like dedicate 100% of my time into it. But over time, I feel like this would get kind of strenuous, especially if I start traveling or I start like doing more things outside of business. But I I'm putting a lot of trust into AI that the AI will just be able to make the whole process simpler. And I'm also simplifying the whole process by thinking about, okay, how can I systematize that? How can I make sure that um the structure of the videos can be repeated over and over again, like the framework on how I talk about the hook and then I go into the three different points. Like I feel like I'm getting faster and faster at that as well. So yeah, just adding systems and combining them with AI and just like the general expertise, and that generally comes to a very nice boost in progress and productivity. So yeah, unless there aren't any other questions, I think we're gonna cut it. It's a bit unfortunate that both Sophia and Lucas were not able to make it today, but I guess that was how it's supposed to be, because this way we were able to really dive deeper into the template, dive deeper in where we currently are. And the goal is to get to 10K by the end of the quarter. And at the moment my thinking is a lot about how can I make a high ticket offer to validate this, collect testimonials. Like I already have a few clients, so um I'm kind of like almost there, but not quite yet. But kind of like taking on the more or less following the synthesizer roadmap and things like, okay, well, like first get some case studies and clients, and like I already have them. I just don't know what I want the case study to be about, or like what the testimonial should be about, because I've been working like when I help someone with their business or their community, I have my fingers in like almost anything because I always take this holistic kind of approach. But this is very tricky when you may want to make a very specific offer that cannot just be holistic, because you cannot just say I'll take care of everything, because no one trusts that. And I'm also not doing that, but I'll figure it out along the way. And it's like, what's the current bottleneck? And let's work on that. So um yeah, I'm still thinking about like what's the thing that I like, because to really grow, especially in the beginning, we have to choose one thing, and choosing this one thing is something that I've been struggling with for the past 5 years, because my thing was always that I was doing multiple things. And for example, um like now I'm talking about health, wealth, and relationships a lot. Like these are the three core areas. For the longest time I had 10 areas. So I was kind of like breaking them down into body, mind, soul, which is now health. And then I had love, love, family, friends, which is now the relationships. And I had career, purpose, and reality, which is now the wealth aspect. And the 10th area was self, which is now between, like, it's half into health and half into relationships. So depending on what I'm doing. So I'm continuously simplifying the whole process because, like, like when I started, I had 90 areas. And then I broke them down into 30 sub areas and then into 10 areas. And now I'm breaking down the 10 areas into three core areas. And I think it's all about simplifying things and just removing it. And it's like, okay, how can I really break this down? And I always think in sets of three. That's where I have marketing, sales, and operations. That's where we have health, wealth, and relationships. And that's why I kind of try to connect all of them. But again, all of the advice that I'm getting, or like the people who have like made it, they seem to just choose one thing eventually. And I have a really hard time choosing it because I really like doing all of them. And if I just do one thing for too long, I get annoyed by it and I don't really enjoy it anymore. So at the moment, I'm putting a lot of time into marketing because that also helps me explain these things. It helps me connect with other people. It helps me to synthesize different ideas. But um, I now miss building. Like the last yesterday and like on the weekend, I built a lot in Notion and kind of like set these things up and was thinking about how can I simplify this? How can I make it easier? How can I clean up this whole thing so I can create the template and share it with the community? So I kind of feel like I'm missing that. So maybe now is the time to get back into that, more into the operations, and maybe also just like going all in on the case study clients that I have and make sure that the results that they're getting are even better because then I can use these to get to the next step because that's what it's all about, especially for high ticket. Having like these testimonials like, hey, I helped this person achieve this outcome. And these kind of things tend to be king because that's what allows you to ask not for just like $100 but like a few $1,000 because you're actually delivering a specific outcome, and ideally this would be monetary. So if you join the community builders and you speak with Benny, a shout out to Benny, you're the best. He will kind of ask you, like, okay, what's the outcome in terms of like wealth generation that you are selling, because this is one of the best ways to actually sell something high ticket. So, if someone charges you 1000 and you know that you're getting 3000 out of it, this is the kind of no brainer offer that Hermosi talks about. So I think I'm gonna finish it with that. We were able to go through this a little bit more quickly. I was able to give you a bunch of updates on what things are happening. So we are still in the beginning of Q1, which is the clarity on specifically the offer. I'm already working on some case study clients and thinking about how can I get them some incredible results while also creating a lot of marketing and connecting people. So, yo, let's go, Alex. How's it
Hello,
going?
hello. Yeah, I just wanted to say hi. Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
But
Like, I'm happy to have a chat.
yeah, so because you said a lot of stuff, and I wanted to ask you. So, what do you actually want to focus on? Because you said you want to do everything. So yeah, go ahead.
That's the tricky part. Like, I'm not sure. I like in the long term, I do want to do everything. I'm not sure if you've seen the post from Ryan.
Mhm.
He recently talked about ghost operating. So you build someone's community from the ground up and you take care of everything. And I
Mhm.
see myself doing that in the long term, but that's not what you start with. That's kind of like what you do at the end. So I'm not sure what to start with. At the moment, I'm thinking more on the marketing side of things because everyone, like, it's front funnel. Everyone kind of like wants more leads. It's really easy to quantify. And I've had a few people like hit me up about getting the marketing template to be more clear about when to post at what times and how to break it down. And I think that's why I'm putting so much time and effort in like creating 3 videos a week, which is also a validation of my own products. Like, hey, with this system, I'm able to do this while doing all these other things.
Yeah, you seem to be doing like really good like operational standpoint, because I feel like I mean, you guys are also three people, right? Let's be honest.
True.
But like it's hard for me to actually find people that I generally like want to work on my stuff, you know. So also, you said something that I was actually gonna suggest. Like you see like what Hormozy is actually doing. He's jumping in businesses and he's basically helping them like scale, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you have to build something on your own for you to know how to like repeat it, right? But basically helping out with like different pieces will work out for you, right? But yeah, currently for me, like I'm actually struggling for the with like the community model. Like I just cannot grasp how I can build a really good community, right? um,
Mm.
and and on top of that, I have to like figure out marketing, I have to figure out sales, I have to figure out like content creation, right? It's a lot of stuff to figure out as like you're starting out, right? And I know I feel like you're like steps in front of me on a lot of these things, at least from like what I saw. And I'm like kind of like struggling with all of them, you know.
Yeah,
um
and that's kind of what I've been observing because in the beginning, like everyone tells you like you have to do everything or you just work for someone. And I never really liked this because like you just called yourself a wizard, so you're deep in the operation side of things, in the fulfillment, in the delivery, right? So what I want to build is a system that allows you to connect with people who are great at marketing, who already have a big following, and then you can find something that you both are passionate about and say, okay, let's just partner up. You take care of the marketing side of things and you're in charge of that, so you're kind of the chief marketing officer, while you would be the chief operating officer. And then maybe you have a third guy, which is the chief revenue officer, who takes care of the outreach and the sales funnel and all of that. So that's kind of what I'm building at the moment. So that's why I was. Did you see the onboarding video with Ryan? Um,
No, I actually just joined like yesterday, and you messaged me, and now I'm here. So
Yeah, it
I'm
was
pretty sure.
because like I'm not sure if you are also part of his free community, but if you're not, then you can also just check it out in like the Game of Life. But I'm kind of talking with the best players on school with Ryan, who's the top contributor, and it's like, hey, you have the best onboarding. Let me copy what works and put it in my system. And for um, for Thursday, I'm talking with Miles from Courses, the guy who was part of
Mhm.
the team who won the school games back in October. I think they made like 230,000. So it's like, hey, you guys have an insane sales system. Let me copy this and put this in. So I'm kind of thinking about the meta of school, and I talk to the people to synthesize it back and it's like, hey, this is what you should do for your community. This is what you should do for sales. This is what you should do for marketing. So trying to put all of these pieces together and then allowing you to a copy what works and b connect with people who have different skill sets, because you starting to think about like, okay, let me learn marketing, let me learn sales. That's going to take you at least 6 months for each.
Definitely.
Like I was like I was in that spot last year where I was building a community on Kajabi and it didn't really work out because I had no idea how to do it. And I was like, okay, like what skill am I missing? It's like I was already creating content, I already had a product. It's like, okay, I don't know how to sell. So that's when I was like, okay, I guess I have to learn the skill now. And I joined a startup and I worked in the sales department for 6 months. And I still don't really think I know sales, even though I've worked in it for 6 months and I got tons of coaching. And um, it like there is so
Yeah,
much to learn.
completely understandable. It's like understanding humans. It's like every sales call is different, you know?
Also true. Yeah. And you just have to do the volume. And if you spread yourself too thin and doing everything, it's very hard unless you're putting like 10 plus hours every day, which isn't sustainable over a long period either. So,
Hmm.
um,
But you seem to be also like really like well connected. I mean, I like know you from TED, obviously, and you don't seem to have like a really big audience. You don't seem to have like a sustainable business. Like how did you actually do it? Like, sorry to like
no,
interrupt.
no, I love this question, and this is kind of why I was shifting the focus on more towards relationship and networking because for
Hmm.
me this is somehow like I never really think about it, it just happens. So what I generally do is I join these communities or um like you're a gamer as well. So let me put this like I love being able to put this into these terms, man. It's so cool. So when you're playing a game, it's a lot about positioning. So where do you position yourself that you are seen in the best way? So usually the high ground is one of the best ways. So joining these different calls, like the one with Ted and the one with synthesizers, with Aiden and the one with Benny on Friday, and then like in courses I've been hanging a lot with Dan and with Miles and just kind of like talking with the people, understanding them, getting to know them, and just seeing who vibes with you, seeing like okay, like they seem to know what they're talking about. They have like because you need to also enjoy the people that you want to
Hmm.
connect with because there are
Definitely.
different bubbles within school. So I was like I spend a lot of time in courses because that's the first community that I joined. And then from there, I was like, okay, who are the biggest players within that community? You know, it's like, okay, like the obvious one is the people who are hosting courses. So Patrice was hosting courses on Monday, Kevin is hosting courses on Tuesday, Miles is hosting courses on Wednesday, Dan was hosting courses on Thursday, and then Dylan hosts courses on um, Friday. So I just joined all of them. And I started talking with the people, I started to get to know them. And once I knew that, like also same thing with synthesizer, it's like, okay, what do the people motivate? Like what do they like? So, for example, I know that like many of them like chess. And like, okay, let me create a chess tournament so we can like play together and connect through this way. So, thinking about the ways that people already want. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. Am I going in the
No, no,
right
no, no,
direction?
no. It is. It is. Yeah, I'm asking this because I've been doing it kind of a different way. So I've actually, how do I say, I'm also kind of good at that. I mean, the way I do it is just go where people are and like
Yeah.
try to find out who, uh, like I don't want to seem like I want to benefit from somebody, but in a way like how can I help them so they can help me, right?
Yes.
um
Yeah.
and yeah, just try to vibe with people, right? Just try to feel out like their energy, right? I don't want to like but
No,
not
no,
make a
that's what you have to
manifestation, right?
do.
But
Like with some people you vibe with, and like some people you may vibe with, but like they are going in a different direction. So kind of being
yeah,
aware
yeah.
of that. So something that helped me is visualizing who is everyone and who are they connected to. So I have this template here with the different players, and I categorize them into knights, into rangers, into wizards. So some of the best knights on school, actually, let's go more into the roles here. Because so for example, I now have these different roles, and then I rank them on like how good of a player they are. So Hermosi and Sam are obviously on like the highest master level, and then it's like, okay, who are the people who are about to get there? So someone like Andrew is definitely is like, hey, he's currently literally working with Sam. Dan is like in courses they won in October, so he's one of them. Patrice won in July, and she's connected to Dan, and to Miles and to Max, so she's one of them. So here we have the courses team essentially. um, then we have Ryan as the top contributor, Harut, and just thinking about like, okay, who are these people at diamond rank and how can I connect with them? And some of them, with some of them, it's easy. They already have their calls, so you can just hop on and just talk with Benny, or you can. With some of them, you have to join their paid community to get access to that. Um, and thinking about who you want to connect. And something that helped me as well is go through the school stories with Matthew Thompson, because from there I was able to understand who these people were, and like, am I vibing with them? And like, I was like, oh yeah, this Ted Carr dude seems kind of cool. But then I listened to the podcast with him and Matthew, and it's like, Ted is all about gamification, and he is like all about health and nutrition, and like exercising, and he's playing video games and all of these things. And like, bro, this is like a great guy to connect. And then I kind of like would and then I prioritize these people. It's like, okay, I'm trying to connect more with them, and I try to interact more. Ted is very difficult to connect to though, because he distanced himself. Like, you usually just connect with through him through with Benny or someone. So kind of hard to get to know. Similar with Andrew, very hard to actually connect with. Ryan, on the other hand, much easier. Now it's getting harder because he just increased the prices of the paid, but he is active himself in free. Andrew, not as much. Um, Ted is mostly just posting like sales things in the community builders and isn't really able to connect on a deeper level. But for example, Aiden is like extremely active on synthesizers, like starting to connect, starting to, and then thinking about like, you have your own community. Like, what would you want your members to do? Probably post, probably share the lessons, probably break things down that you have been talking about. Kind of repeat what they're saying, put it in your own words. Start engaging with other members and calling them out. So, thinking about doing that and generally being as helpful as possible. So,
Mhm.
with the synthesizer, for example, I was like, hey, I love the synthesizer roadmap. So let me actually break this down and turn it into a YouTube video. So now I'm creating content for myself, but it's not just for myself, it is specifically for that community. And out of
Mhm.
that, I am
Cool.
now interviewing Aiden on a podcast next week, because I was able to continue to build up this relationship. And we like, he recommended to read a book, and then I read the book, and I told him that I loved the book. And then we had like some other books that we are also reading, and we kind of like geeked out about that because it was like on the fictional side. And it's like having a conversation about this. And I think the key aspect is, and that's what relationships are about, being able to relate to other people, right?
Mhm.
Like, the
Yeah,
more
it's not also that. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, no,
you're
please.
doing like a few things right. So you're trying to make it as easy as possible for them, like trying to analyze like how you can get into their space, because usually I've bought myself into rooms, or of I've just been the cool guy to hang out with, even though I didn't do that much cool stuff. I mean, I'm a developer, and people here usually like look at developers in a different way, because normal entrepreneurs just look at us and like, oh yeah, this guy can earn us so much money, right?
Yeah,
But
you're very
mm,
extroverted for a developer. I'm kind of surprised actually.
yeah, I mean, I got into development because I just love computers, I love building stuff, and this was a way for me to just get out of like poverty basically, right? So so in that regard, yeah, I managed to get myself into some rooms, and like what you're doing there is like awesome, because you're basically not trying to invade their space, but you're trying to like move around it, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, with Ted is like I paid to be in his program, so I do have access to him, right? um and I can ask him a lot of stuff, right? And he can like fix some stuff about me, but I had to pay for that, right?
yeah,
um and like with like some things, like yeah, and like the sure the bigger you get, it's also harder for people to get to you, because then a lot of people try to reach out to you, and you gotta
yeah.
guard your attention, because even now I'm getting distracted, I cannot do anything. Like I can't imagine like having like hundreds of DMs like my way, right?
But
um
the beauty is most of these DMs suck.
yeah, exactly. Like, and you cannot filter it out. Like there is literally no
Yeah.
way for you to filter it out. So it's not like they may not want to connect with you, it's just that they made it in a certain way for them to do their job consistently, right?
Yeah, and
um
it's also like I learned this in sales. It's a lot about consistency. Like you like following up multiple times, even if you know the people, even if you know them well. Like with Aiden, I still have to follow up like sometimes 3 or 4 times until he messages me. And something that I noticed was helping is like I don't follow up with the same thing. It's like, hey, bumping this up. And it's like, bro, like I was already not responding to the previous one. And then I was like, okay, so like what I was asking was too much or it was too complicated. Or and then I just like, okay, I'm ignoring it. And it's like, okay, is there another way that I can reach out to him? It's like, hey, by the way, I'm organizing this chess tournament. Or hey, I'm thinking about a new book that I'm reading. I know you have some recommendations. And just starting the conversation all over again. It's like, hey, I made this video that I think you're liking. And um like
mhm,
the
mhm,
videos that I'm making, I'm also thinking strategically. It's like, okay, like I haven't posted in this community in a while. Can I make a video in like 2 weeks that will allow me to post in there? Um,
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's sometimes it's not that they're ignoring you on purpose. Maybe they read your message, but it was like,
or
as
they're
you
just
said,
busy as fuck.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are actually, I don't feel like they get that. Like they feel like it's like the end of the world, and like yeah, just reach out. Like people are busy, right?
Yeah,
Especially when you go like when you're like doing stuff like them, right? Like even now for me, it's like I'm trying to like uh guard my like time as much as possible, because I cannot keep up, you know. And I'm no and I'm nowhere, honestly. You know, if I'm comparing myself to the other guys, right?
yeah.
So,
You like the higher you get on that ladder, the more protective you have to be on your time, and that's why Alex Hermosi says like the woman in the red dress just keeps getting more attractive. And
oh yeah.
it is getting harder and harder to say no because the quality of these outreaches gets better and better. And at some point you have a Sam Owens reaching out to you, pitching you if you want to invest into school. And yeah, that's kind of like the points. Okay, how can I make this outreach so good, so aligned with the things that they're already doing. And that's why, for example, I'm going a lot on podcasts at the like I'm focusing on doing this a lot because like if you can frame it as like, hey, I have a community with like 100 people, it's growing every day. Um they are interested in the thing that you love. They want to learn, they want to grow, and they all have you as a role model. would you be down to a 30-minute conversation? I will kind of like organize everything. I'll send you like kind of like script with some of the questions beforehand so you can check that out. And I will edit the video for you so you can use it afterwards. Would you be down for that? And it's like, yes, because like they have nothing to lose. It builds goodwill. They know it's like, hey, I want to do this anyways. They know that they have been on like tons of podcasts already anyways. And if you like find what motivates them, what they're into, what they like, and then kind of use this to connect with them over and over and over again. Um, then like eventually you just build this relationship and then you can rely on that. And um yeah, that's why, for example, I really want to something that I'm missing is the live aspect, because it's so much easier to connect with people in person. You can build the
Mhm.
connection at a much faster and deeper rate. So I'm really excited for the Goose World Tour and meeting people in person, and maybe even doing my own world tour at some point and just like traveling through people, because then you have another reason. So for example, if I reach out to Ted now and it's like, hey, are you down to like meet for 3 hours? He's like, fuck no, like I'm busy.
Of course.
But it's like, hey, I'm going to LA and I'm bringing my Switch and a bunch of fruits. Are you down to just like when are you free to play some video games? So and I was like, that may work. That may work,
Mhm.
especially if it's connected. Like, hey, you down to make a podcast afterwards? We can play like some video games. And it's like, sure. It's like, "Hey, I even bring some oranges, and then he knows like, shit, this guy knows me. He offers something that I want to do anyways. It is connected to my bigger purpose and mission. I can create content out of that.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
this is what I want to do anyways.
have you watched the Dream 100? Like there is like this like workshop that Ted had. I don't know if he's gonna have it anytime soon, but I think it's like I mean it's not something that he came up with, but it's like it's like I don't know, maybe it's like Russell Brunson. I don't know who came up with it, but it's like if you had to partner with like 100 people that will literally skyrocket your business, who will these people be, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, there he said like something like really similar that you just did. Basically, one guy connected with an influencer based on I think he like drinking like something. I forgot what it is, but he bought him like 1,000 cans of it, right, and just delivered it right into his house. Somehow he knew his address and just like left a note, right, and that's it. Like and from there he became like a partner. So
yeah,
he basically partnered with this guy, and he basically skyrocketed his business. And only like one of these contacts can literally change your life, because
yeah.
if you
That's
were
genius.
to, and I think he even gave the analogy like if Oprah were to like endorse your product, you're going to be rich for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
Because now you can just say, oh, like Oprah likes it, right? Then like, you know.
Yeah, and like, are you familiar with? Have you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
No, I'm actually honestly like this is a bit controversial, but I'm not big on books.
Okay.
um
Audiobooks then or videos then, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean I've read like how to influence people, and what was the name of the book?
How to Win Friends and Influence
Yeah,
People.
yeah, exactly. Of course, Alex Hormozzi's books. I've gone through them as well. But yeah, I like horses. I like horses more.
I can
Um,
see that. It's also more actionable. So I've read a ton of like kind of bad books, so I see where you're coming from. But the concept is very similar to what you just explained. It's um having these people that you look up to. And in the book, he talks like, hey, like start having conversations with them in your mind and start asking them for advice. So it's like, okay, like, what would Ted tell me right now? What would Alex tell me right now? What would Sam kind of advise me on what to do? And I've been making the habit on really I'm gonna like at the cost of oversharing, but I think this is super cool. So
No,
um
it's fine. As long as I'm not like stealing away your time, or maybe like
no, no, no,
somebody
like
wants
we
to.
have 5 more minutes.
Ah, okay.
So these are the people that I'm looking up to, and these are still the 10 errors that I had from before. Now I broke it down into three. But here, basically, all of the people that I see as at the top of their game, at the highest level, that eventually I want to connect with. So Oprah is one of them, actually. Um, and thinking about like, okay, how can I get like one of them on a podcast? And once I have one of them, it's much easier to get the second one, and then the third, and then the fourth, and then kind of connecting it to one another. So really thinking about how to do that is kind of the key that I've always been trying to get after. And what I'm kind of doing with school right now is just getting some validation. And being like, hey, like this is something that I have done. This works. Um, like at this scale, and now like how can we get this further, because everyone, if you frame your mission to include their mission in it. For example, Tony Robbins loves to help people with like poverty and like hunger, right? So to connect with him, it's like, hey, by the way, like my mission is to eventually end like hunger throughout the world. Like you have his attention now. It's like he, at
Hmm.
least he's gonna listen.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
and really thinking about like, okay, how can I connect my mission with their mission? Because now it's not I want something from you, but it's like we both want the same thing, so how can we help each other?
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, knowing like the interests of people is a big one, obviously.
True.
Like knowing like somebody loves video games, right? You can connect on that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
instant rapport as well.
but yeah, my question to you is, which do you want to actually um, focus on? Because you can just focus on sales, you can just focus on marketing. You also gotta play on your strengths, because I feel like you're big on like maybe like customer service, like community, um, maybe like hiring, maybe, maybe like HR would be something that you can excel at, because like community building, like understanding people, and especially like understanding like different people. And I feel like modern HR doesn't really get that.
True.
They're like trying to fit everybody in one box, and they're like treating everybody the same, right? Especially in like big companies. uh, and like they're doing like some like performance review and so on. But this leads to nowhere, because in the end they don't have like a personal touch to it, right? I mean, I haven't been in that position. I don't know what it's like to be in an HR. But it seems like you've got like this like customer success, um, like spice onto it, right? I mean, I don't wanna like.
No, 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 no. I love that because like it's really hard to read the label from inside the bottle, right? Like you need,
Ah,
or
okay.
we all need these outside perspectives. So I really appreciate you
Mhm.
kind of touching on that, and it gives me additional data that allows me to come up with a better decision, because like I'm right now really like choosing that, and I know I could like there's like there. How do I put this? Um, like we cannot do everything, but like or like no, let me start over. So I can do anything but not everything. I
Mhm.
think like yes, I could go into marketing, I could go into sales, I could go into customer success and HR, but I cannot do all of them. And that kind of hurts my soul because like why not? And I get it, like I understand the argument, but there is something in me that somehow rebels against doing this one thing. And I think I'm at the point where it's like, okay, maybe I just have to do this one thing for a period of time. And at the moment, that is marketing. And I think I just need
Mhm.
to continue doing that for at least 6 months to actually see the results of that. Because like I've seen the same thing with sales. I've done sales for 6 months and I was like, okay, like now I'm seeing results, but I don't really enjoy the work. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
great. Um, and now I'm doing the same thing with marketing. Um, because like I'm creating 3 videos every week, but yeah, over time, like I do see myself more in the operations side of things. Like at the core, I am more on like the wizard, the guy that builds out the systems, that kind of like does all of these things. And I think my role as working in marketing, working in sales is just to understand it. Like kind of want to be the bridges to these different other guilds and
Hmm.
connect with people who have a massive following, and being able to just talk at their level. And it's like, I know how it is to create 3 videos every week, and I know how it is to have 30 sales calls every week. And just being able to say that,
Hmm.
it's kind of this rite of passage. And having that, it's like you have the same thing with developers, right? Like when you connect
Hmm.
with them and you talk about like something, and say, oh shit, like this guy knows what he's talking about, and they suddenly look at you like with a whole different lens. So yeah, I appreciate you calling me out on that. Like, I'm still thinking on it, but like, what about you?
Maybe
Like, do
like
you wanna like go deeper into like the wizard and the fulfillment? Because like you're building a
Mhm.
community for developers, right?
Yeah, so yeah, just to give you like a disclaimer, this is like my first like how they say, this is like my first impression. It's not, it doesn't have to be true, this is just what I found out. Like, but it seems like you're also like a operations guy, right? You love like mapping things out, like all of like the vision board with the people, and like the notions that you've built. It's like I haven't done that. Like, I mean, I have it to some extent, but just to get by,
Yeah,
just because I have to. um
That's what I do with sales. Like, it's not something that I enjoy. It's just like something that needs to get done.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not good at planning. Like, maybe this is like a limiting belief, but I'm trying to get better for sure. I will also share with you a community that I was a part of. I don't know if she's still running it actively, but it's called the Success Journey, and she's trying to gamify, like
Oh
your
yeah,
whole
share it
like
with me.
how they say, like battling self doubt, like reaching your goals. And I think maybe you also connecting with her. She's called Jasmine. Might be interesting. She's more to like the customer success
Okay,
part, because she's a customer success, and yeah, it might be useful to you.
sweet.
But to get back to your question, I don't know. I've always loved coaching people. This is something that I've done like for free even before I went full time on this. And now the community aspect is just because this is like the new model, right? This is
Yeah,
why I'm building a community, because it's a really nice conversion mechanism. And also, like, I want to understand more and more the people that I work with. But honestly, my clients right now that I have, they're not active in the community. you know it's like a different part of the business, and I don't really want to just serve as a conversion mechanism. I want there
yeah,
to be all of the free resources so people can consume them. I love like what Hormozy is doing, like give away everything for free, right?
yeah.
Sadly, this doesn't work so well because they're just not consuming the resources. Like,
Mm.
and now I will just try to go separate them into like posts, and I'm like, oh, you guys want this, like comment down below, and then when they comment, I'll just link them the classroom.
Okay,
So they
so I'm gonna do rapid fire because I do want to watch the school news,
yeah,
and
yeah, go ahead.
so like one thing is asking easy questions. If you want engagement, then asking questions about the past. How was your weekend? What did you do yesterday? Like what games have you already developed? What's your favorite part of developing? Things that it's easy for them to answer. Um, Giving them information is usually not necessarily the way to go. I tend to like I'm posting a lot of content in my community, or I have done in the past. I'm doing less of that because it tends to overwhelm people if they feel like they have to watch 3 videos. It's like, you don't have to. I'm just like putting them out there. Um and now I'm using like two of them more as an outreach mechanism, so I can kind of like send them to people. So asking easy questions is one. Second one is like hopping on calls with them, so you may already be doing these things, but in general it's about understanding where they are, where they're coming from. And then something that I like to do is prompting them, because like ideally you want them to connect with other people in their community. So when you go through the onboarding, you see how I designed this, so you can already get started with that, which goes beyond a simple introduction post. Um, I think that's the first aspect. Then the second aspect is making them post about something that they care about. So in like a couple of days, I'll probably shoot you a message and like, hey Alex, I know that you are into development. Um, Here is somewhat of a prompt. Could you make a post about this? Because I want people to know what you're doing and you have expertise, and I want you to share this kind of expertise. And kind of giving people somewhat of a framework. It's like, hey, start with a question, tell a bit of a story on where you're coming from, and then just nudging people to ask these questions. And um, then you slowly remove yourself more. You post less and less, they post more and more. So instead of you posting every day, you message three people every day and ask like, hey, can you make a post? Not everyone's going to do that, but that's fine. But some people will like do that, and then maybe they do a second one, and then they start doing a third one, and then you kind of got them hooked. Because once they're at level 3 or 4, then they will somewhat return to you, especially if you give them what they want. So, like, if it's a community about game development, then it's like, hey guys, I've found this new article, or I made a video on the best practices, or what was your biggest fail when like developing something?
Hmm.
Like, all of these things allow them to connect with one another, and then kind of connecting that with the outcome. But something that I really like, and like for example, Ryan does this, but I don't see a lot of people on school do it, is using the and Hormozy does this, for example. Like he just does it at a bigger scale.
Hmm.
So using the free community as as an actual school. So like, hey, you are not my ideal customer yet, but I think you will become them. So I want to give you the resources. I want to help you along this path. So you end up making 10K per month. So you can like I can charge you like 2K, because to get you to the 30K or whatever you want. So
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe you're not there yet. Maybe um like you think about wanting to be a developer. Maybe it's like, hey, like I've always like liked games or kind of like programming, but I'm not sure if I should do that, and university kind of sucks. And like, hey, like great, here are some resources, go through them and like learn these aspects, start making money with that. And then you are at another stage, and like so you kind of like take them along the stage. It's like, hey, I'm like 3 or 4 steps ahead of you, and that's, by the way, the best person to learn from. Like me learning directly from Hermosi, like most of the things would go over my head because he thinks
Hmm.
about things that is like, bro, what the like I don't even know where to start. But that's why I'm looking at Harut and Patrice and Benny, because like, hey, they are like these few steps ahead of me. And it's like, okay, let me just copy what they're doing and synthesize it down. And you can do the same thing. It's like, hey, like just be the instead of being the teacher or the guru, be the best student in the classroom, the one who like in like maybe you had this in school or university, the one who always shares their notes, the one who is like helping people with their homework, the one who kind of like asks the teacher questions and then posts the notes for everyone who hasn't like visited the classroom. So if you can be that in other communities, then people start noticing that. And then in other communities, finding these people is like, these people are interested, they are hungry, they are engaged, and then kind of like prompting them. And then
Hmm.
after you've nudged them like 2 or 3 times, they're gonna like start posting by themselves because they like getting that validation. They like being a sense of authority in your community. They like sharing about like what they are working on. And yeah, that's those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. But I don't want to drag it on because school news is life. I feel like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, let's we can continue chatting
yeah,
next week,
yeah, of
so
course,
that'd
of
be
course,
fun.
man. Yeah,
And yeah, otherwise, enjoy the
yeah, yeah.
journey.
Thank you for the call, man. Really appreciate
Always,
it.
always appreciated you.
Yeah, bye, bye.
Enjoy. Bye bye.